The year is 1938 and Germany just annexed Austria, and now they are about to go after Czechoslovakia. In the city of Munich, German, British, Italian and French diplomats met to discuss the future of Czechoslovakia, and obviously Czechoslovakia was not invited. In the conference they decided to give Germany the region of the Sudetenland, which was inhabited by Germans, and all Mr. Adolf had to do was to promise not to do anything again. Well, that didn't work out as planned. But what if, in an alternate timeline, Britain and France decided to defend Czechoslovakia and start World War II? Within 24 hours of the news, Germany would decide to invade Czechoslovakia, as this was what Adolf originally planned. What you did not know about Czechoslovakia is probably that Czechoslovakia had many land forts along the border and that the border was a bunch of mountains. Also, Czechoslovakia had a pretty decently sized industry, so this means that Czechoslovakia might be able to survive the German onslaught for months on end. Germany's first priority in the war would be to split Czechoslovakia in half in order to ruin their supplies, and they would eventually succeed. Then they would try to spearhead to the capital Prague from all sides, and the Slovakians, who were a bit rebellious, might use this to make their own independent state, which would collaborate with Germany. With Prague having fallen, the rest of Czechoslovakia would capitulate. This war would be very costly for Germany, both militarily and economically. They would lose a ton of weapons and soldiers, and this would hurt them later down the line. Now that Czechoslovakia has fallen, the war will turn into a stalemate. France will attempt to launch an offensive into Germany, but it will fail miserably. Now, Germany will be able to invade Poland like in our timeline. Germany would launch an offensive right into Poland, but it would fail a bit, and Poland would be able to stand. Only with Soviet support will Poland capitulate a few months later. Now, Germany will attack the Benelux as they did in our timeline in order to attack France. But since they are weaker in this time, and British troops have already arrived in Europe, they will be stopped in Belgium. And then the war will turn into a stalemate where the Allies might take a bit of German territory. And it all won't change until 1941. And in our timeline, the Germans invaded the Soviet Union. But here, the Soviet Union will invade Germany. They will break through to Warsaw in a few weeks. Hitler won't be expecting this and they will start to lose. The Allies will push into Germany, and the Czechoslovakian partisans who have been at hard work for the past year will rise up. Now the Soviets will push further and Germany will capitulate within a few months. The war is over. The Soviet Union would use this perfect opportunity to annex the Baltics in a few days. The Soviets wouldn't have lost 20 million soldiers in this timeline, and their economy would also be way more stable than in ours. So this means that the Soviet Union will now invade France and Britain, as they see this as a perfect opportunity. Britain and France would be surprised and the Soviets would push up to the Rhine, but soon a stalemate would arise like the last one. Since Germany doesn't exist in this timeline, Benito Mussolini would only be scared of the Soviet Union, so he would try to ally himself with France and Britain, and eventually he would join the Allied powers against the Soviet Union. And now the front lines might move, as the Soviets will push to the Rhine and the Italians might push into Austria, but this would be a very costly attack. This war would look very alike to World War I, which already happened. Both sides would try to cross the Rhine, but they would have heavy losses, and there would basically be no actual movement. Pearl Harbor would still be attacked, and Japan would go to war with the United States. But this time, with the French and British being more active in Asia, the Americans will be able to capitulate Japan in 1944, 1 year earlier than in our timeline. With the Japanese Empire having fallen to the hands of the United States, the American government would see only one more threat left in the world, the Soviet Union. They would join their allies in the war against communism in Europe, and they would arrive within a few months on European soil. Now an offensive will start right into Germany, and it will be quick. Yugoslavia, Hungary and Romania will see an opportunity in this to gain some more power in Europe, and they will join the war against communism too. Now the Allied powers will push further and they will completely liberate Poland and start entering Russian territories, and now Finland and Turkey will also decide to join the Allied cause. The Allies will start to get to Moscow, and Moscow will fall and the Soviet Union will capitulate. Pretty ironic that the Germans couldn't do it, but these guys can. A brand new Europe would arise as some German territories would be given to Poland, Czechoslovakia and France, and the rest of Germany, the middle, will be split between three Germanys. The North German Confederation, the South German Federation and the Rhine Confederation. This would prevent Germany from ever starting a war again. And the Soviet Union would also be split up. Ukraine and Belarus would get independence, and some other countries too. Romania would also take some territories. And yeah, now Poland and Czechoslovakia, not wanting to ever be threatened by other countries again, would unite as Zapadoslavia, the Union of the Western Slavs. No one will ever touch Czechoslovakia or Poland again. The good ending. I would like to ask you to subscribe, since this would really help me and make my day. And also, if you subscribe, then you will become a Giga Chad in 10 seconds, so please subscribe right now.